So we are looking at dashboards that was created using monitoring reports. So I'm showing you there's a possibility of creating specific dashboards for monitoring that will keep your dashboards running and keep your monitoring in a visual form for you once it's set up. But for you to get these graphs, you need to be able to work from a monitoring report. Your monitoring reports will be filled in by the user, the front-end user, in the monitoring section where they add the information on a weekly or daily basis, however you've set it up. Let's just view the detail. If you view the detail, you'll see there's information already captured into the system, and it gives a little graph, but it doesn't give you the same information or graph type that we have seen in the dashboards. Now, to be able to create these reports, the administrator needs to do some work in the back end. So the administrator will return to the back end and begin the report by saying what elements do I need in my report. So say for instance they want to see water usage. Again, you go and search water, and you can see we've got water consumption, water plant, water storage. So either you select what's already in the system, or you just add what you want to. Now, to add a management or a parameter or element, you just put the words in here, water tank AB, and you select a value if that's applicable. The value here says I want to use the information for calculation in my dashboard. With water, we don't have a calculation currently, but if I want to add a parameter, for instance, that will affect my last day case rate, so I've got an LTI or TRCR, and if somebody gets injured and was booked off for 2 or 3 days, I capture it in ELINT, and that person's hours and that person's injury needs to be part of the calculation. This is where you're going to select it. You're going to select hours, whatever the calculation would be. This is how you're going to select it. With the calculations, you're going to have to speak to the ELINT administrator so that they can assist you in explaining how these calculations work and what they actually are. So for water, you're just going to add the water, and you're going to add the actual water tank parameter. So that's all you do under elements and parameters. Just add new elements and parameters if they are not there. If they're there, you don't have to add anything here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to click on standards, and you're going to create your own standard. So the standard is actually the report. So you're going to first give your report a name, monitoring water usage. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our parameter that we've selected. If at this stage I identify I don't actually have the parameter that I wanted, I can click on new, and the same screen that you've just seen under parameters will open, and you can fill in the detail and save it, and then it will be available for you to use. So you don't actually have to leave the screen to do that, because you might be able, or you might be at row 16 already of completing a report and you haven't actually thought about a parameter. So you can add that parameter within the report that you're already busy with. You need to tell me what units are you going to use. So let's say it's kiloliters, and then a minimum of 0. Let's say it's a 10,000 liter tank, and we've got a target level of say 9,500. If I want to add another row to my report, I just click on add element and do exactly the same as what I've just done. If I want to remove that row, I can just click on the red tab. I then add this specific standard. If you want to have a look at the standards that's already in the system, what you'll do is you'll search it and you'll say, I want to see what parameters there are, or what standards there already are. Please do not use a standard that's created that wasn't created specifically for you. You'll see there's Avarra Western Cape, Avarra Central, so there's specific customer standards that's already created in the system that's available for them to use, and it's got a specific date because they will have new standards created for 2019 to make sure that their graphs and the statistics run from it in a 12-month period. Once you've created your standard, which is actually a report, you now have to link it to your monitoring location. So you click on monitoring location. Again, you have to select your company and you have to select your site. And then you can name the monitoring location. So you can say, this is your water tanks, your standard that you've used. It should normally be the last one, but you can do a word search as well. And then you have to link it to a management measure. If you don't link it to a management measure, it will not save. So let's just see if they've got a month-end stats. Here's weekly monitoring. So what we do is we create our management measures in our CMS, and we make sure that if there's a monitoring report that we want to create, there's a management measure that it can be linked to, so that we can allocate the report to a specific location within Eland. And then you can just save it. Okay, once you've allocated the report, you have to go to monitoring reports and then activate it for the site. So again, you choose your company, your site, you go and select, and you'll see it's water tanks that we've created. And now I have to select this level. If you use a report for multiple sites, the same report for multiple sites, but you might have different parameters on those sites, you can do the same, and you can only select the ones that's applicable to the site. We only have one row here, or one line here that's measured, so that's why we only select the one. If I add this, the report will now show on the templates on my right hand side. So if I want to just show you something. If, for instance, I add this report for another site, and there's no carpets that they clean, I can untick carpets, add it, and it won't show that specific parameter in that specific site, if that's what you would like to do. Just go into the front end and see if our report is now available that we've created. As I've mentioned, the administrator will have to go to the front end through the CMS tab. Let's see. Okay, water tanks. There is our report. There shouldn't be any information on it now because we've just added this report. If I wanted to delete this report, because obviously this client is not going to use that report, I need to go back to my monitoring reports. I go and first I select my site, my company, my site. Then I go and select the template or the report I don't want anymore. And I can say, hide this report. And it hides the report. It's not there, it's hidden, it's not there anymore. And if we go to the front end, it should not be available for view anymore or for completion. yes, it's gone. So we don't have that water tank report in the system anymore. The administrator goes back to the back end by clicking on return to back end. And that is the full back end.